Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. Joined here by my partner, my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez from Compass Real Estate in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. Daniel, happy 10-year treasury, my friend. 4.75. Hit it. We actually hit it. We're approaching 5.
What? That's more than it was a few months ago.
Listen, on the 27th of February, Friday, we hit 3.96. And everybody should know 10-year treasury translates into your mortgage interest rate, your credit card interest rate, your car loan interest rate. Mortgages, you add 3 points to it. Daniel, we were coming to 3 point. On the 27th of February, the next day, we said, we got a low 10-year treasury. Let's go ahead and attack Iran because we want to jack up gas prices and we want to jack up that 10-year treasury so that mortgage rates go high.
It's an excursion. We went on it's like a cruise ship excursion. We went off on the ship and we went to Iran at the cost of several $100 billion.
Yeah, and counting. But hey, listen, with any luck, we might be able to hit 7%, 30-year fixed rate mortgage.
$4.99 a gallon I did with my car yesterday. Ouch.
Whoa. 2013, no car. That's how long it's been for me. And the court did not order it. I voluntarily did it.
But can you get anywhere? They haven't built a transit corridor since 1975.
Yeah, you are kind of limited to that skeleton of a metro rail.
But we'll get to that because we got a big segment to talk about the transit corridor. And if you're just joining us for the first time today, everybody, this is Buy, Sell, Hold, where Peter and I, we throw back these stories week after week. And have we got a show for you? In the bottom left of your screen, or if you're looking on some mobile, right there in the middle, you see the rundown. Those are some topics that Peter and I throw back and forth. And at the end of each topic, we're either going to buy because we agree, we sell because we disagree, or we hold because we don't have enough information. We don't know. We're adults and we can just sit back and watch. But with that, Peter, there was a story last week that you had me kicked because we had so much material to play with and we push it to this week. But I want to talk about our boy Moishe Mana. And Moishe Mana, for everybody who doesn't know, is an enterprising gentleman. He came here, get this, Peter, I was doing some research about Mr. Mana. He came here from Israel, not here. He went to New York in 1983. And he had a moving truck. And that moving truck grew into Moishe's Moving Systems, which from my half-ass internet research grew to become one of the largest, if not the largest moving company in all of New York. And then he saw as many developers who wind up down here see when they're in New York, they go, wait, I should own this real estate stuff. And so then he got into warehousing. He got into data warehousing. I mean, He was into warehousing, computer storage back before they called it Facebook and Google, when it was just called IT, information technology. And then he parlayed that into art storage, which he had that whole Mana Contemporary. We're not going to get into all that. There were some lawsuits, but that's behind him now. In 2009, he came to Miami, though. I'm sure he was coming down here partying with Versace and all the cool kids and Stallone in the 90s. But he planted a flag here. And that flag he planted is in a little neighborhood that we know today as Wynwood. Well, I said it how the Cubans say it, but Wynwood. And he has built and amassed acres and acres and acres of warehouses at a cost basis that would make your head spin today. In fact, there was a rumor, wasn't there, Peter, that our boy Mr. Billions was negotiating a deal for Mana over there in Wynwood. It was like $700 million, something like that. I mean, both sides said both sides said, you guys are making that stuff up. That's fake news. But if it actually is true, and his cost basis is probably in the hundreds of millions, $300 million, $700 million seems like a payday for him. And that's just Wynwood, guys. Then in 2014, 2015, he started buying up what we're calling today is the Flagler Corridor. Which Flagler, everybody, for who's just watching the show, not from Miami, Flagler's effectively 0 Street. So at the latitude, anything north of Flagler's north, anything south of Flagler's south. And Flagler Street is like City of Miami 0 Street. So in and around that corridor, He's got something like 80 buildings, Pete.
But, before you go forward, let me just throw out to you. Mr. Mana, before he came here, he got his start in the fruit business. Yeah, according to Miami Herald.
That didn't come out of my little research. Really?
Yeah, according to the Miami Herald, they did a sidebar when they did a profile of when they were working on Flagler Street there, and the 5 blocks that were going to cost like $40 million to improve. Yeah, the headline, Miami Herald, comes out April 27th, 2022. Call him the Mango Man.
The Mango Man.
Yeah, Moishi Mana sprouts fruitful agricultural business in Colombia. He owns a bunch of dirt in Colombia so he can export mangoes and limes. That was the key to his business. That's how we got into the cash, was farming business down in Colombia with limes and mangoes. And he's got the nickname the Mango Man. So one thing leads to another. I would just want to throw that to you.
Well, the other, and as we see in the rundown topic title there, they call him Mana Manana. And I think that's a little poking the bear a bit, because he hasn't really seemed to do much with this dirt. Yeah, he's got the Mana thing with the convention center, and they do music concerts, and they do conventions.
Daniel, remember, he got the Mana Center for a song because that was a failed county-owned World Trade Center. That actually went BK.
Oh, that's right.
It went BK.
That's right.
Wynwood was a no-go zone. It was a shithole. Everybody sort of knew it as the place with chop shops. You drive around, there's all warehouses. They'd roll up the bays. You didn't know what the hell was going on. They'd be working. I remember one time I was driving through probably 11, 12 o'clock at night. A guy whose family, huge art collection. He had left his car there because they got a gallery. We were driving around. You would think if this was a movie, this was like chop shops. You had all these mechanic places.
I remember going there with my dad when I was like 10 years old to the art galleries, Fred Snitzer's place.
Yes. And remember, this is kind of where they began the art walks, the first Friday of every month. And then other cities picked up on it, Coral Gables and other stuff. But when you went there, Daniel, it was gritty. There was no place to go to eat. There was like a place called Luster's.
Joey's they opened, right? On the corner there.
Joey's. Yeah. But then they got robbed. You remember when they got robbed? I don't know, probably about 10 years back or so.
They got robbed. And then by pure coincidence, there was a cop on every corner for the rest of eternity. And all of a sudden, people felt safe in going into Wynwood. I'm still not parking my car there overnight.
Exactly. And now fast forward, then you get the little dumpy bar called Gramps. It opens and it hits it right. You also had the bar, Daniel, what the hell was it called? Wood Tavern. You had the Wood Tavern.
Sure.
These were like kind of, it was a real gritty area. And then the New Yorkers came rolling in. They bought a bunch of stuff. And then we got all the Michelin star chefs coming in there. And then the one thing led to another. Yeah. And, and if memory serves me correct, I think Moishi built a big arts center in New Jersey. And
that was in Jersey City. I wasn't going to bring it up because it was kind of contentious. So there was some litigation and some allegations that, and I pulled it from the affidavit, that he was holding art hostage. So the business model was actually kind of brilliant. So he would store folks' art, but it wasn't a traditional art storage center. He would hold showings and he would put this art out on display, but he was charging people to come see the art that was being stored in this warehouse. So the people are like, wait, I'm just paying. I didn't say anything about you showing it to people. So people weren't terribly happy about that.
Nice. But you can see Moishi, what it's all about. He's an entrepreneur. He buys real estate. He likes art. And one of the things he wanted to do with Flagler, he said in an interview with the Business Journal, Brian Bandel, a podcast, he said he's trying to create a cultural center for fashion as well as art on Flagler Street in and around there. And that's one of the reasons he went into all these properties. But so far, Moishi, where you been? You haven't done anything. So all you're doing is knocking down stuff.
He said it's a city that's holding him up with the permits. So somebody's in the wrong here, right? And
yes, but Eileen Higgins,
complaints.
She's the head Eileen Higgins,
was.
She says Flagler Street's done now. Everybody remember, they were working probably about 10 years, and I'm being a little facetious, 10 years to go 5 blocks to rebuild it. And you know what they did? And wait for it. They eliminated the curb and they made it flush for the road to the sidewalk. So you could do farmers markets, you could do different events, you could host like, during the Super Bowl or anything like that, you could have the events. $40 million, 10 years, 8 years, whatever the heck it was. I mean, it started before the pandemic. But Eileen Higgins, the new mayor, she says she's gotten it done. And there was a story in the Herald about it. So Moishi, it's all set to go. Dali.
So is Moishe Zmana's day now? Is it finally happening? By the way, like, if guys, don't bite my head off, but if the Ken Griffin thing goes through, he's going to be sitting on a nice little payday there, and he's got a lot to develop. It just makes sense. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I mean, is that not one of the best land deals over the last 25 years that we've seen here?
In terms of the
appreciation,
the Wynwood?
Yeah,
the Wynwood or the Flagler?
No, Flagler.
Yeah, no.
Flagler, we'll have to see about Flagler, but the Wynwood thing, the money's real. Listen, Ken Billion's the same week that they denied those rumors that they threw out. He bought the Class A office building that they put up over there. What is that, between 5th and 6th Avenue? So
yeah,
Ken Billions has interest, $370-something million worth of interest in Wynwood already. So maybe
it could be, but going back to the Brian Bendel podcast, for Moishi, he says it's about legacy. He wants to build his legacy. And so far, Moishi, your only legacy is a bunch of vacant dirt, as well as maybe Wynwood, where you bring in a bunch of roach coaches or food trucks. Now, people line up and you sell booze. I don't know what else he's done over, other than acquire dirt and rent it out to food trucks and people who want to drink. I mean,
the acoustics in the Mana Convention Center there are not fantastic. I've been to concerts there. It's
and the internet connection is piss poor in that place. You try to get LTE or anything else on your phone. Oh my God, it's horrible. You almost seem like
5G now, Peter. LTE. What is this? 2016?
But you remember Nextel, where all the construction workers they had like walkie-talkies. That's what you need in the Mana Center. Yeah, there's no connection whatsoever. I don't care if it's 5G, it's 12G based on inflation rate. Maybe it's 20G. You don't get any connection there. But legacy. What's his legacy? Or is this the time where he's going to build his legacy? He can buy dirt, but anybody can buy. Now, what do you do with dirt to throw out there?
So is Mana Mañana's day now? Or you buy, sell, hold on that?
I think the pressure is on him right now. Now it's time to perform. Spring training is over. The preparation work is over. There's nobody else to point the fingers to. I mean, maybe you can point the fingers at what's going on in Washington. Maybe you can point the fingers to the interest rates. Maybe you can point the fingers at construction costs. Maybe you can point the fingers at the tariffs as a result of Liberation Day and Supreme Court decision, stuff like that. But, short of that, it's clear. This is wide open. This should be clear sailing. And now we're going to see, can he actually do anything other than buy? And, and I wish him well. He's got some, pretty important properties, especially there on Flagler Street. If he's successful in doing what he wants to do, creating, again, a fashion and arts center, a district, because he owns most of it. I think it could be spectacular, but I think he might be on the wrong side timing-wise.
Yeah, I listened to the Brian Brindell interview, and he kept on sort of repeating the same theme. It's like, if you build it, they will come. So instead of building the residences first, he really puts a big stick in tenant selection and making sure the right people are there. And then if the retail and the commercial enterprise is there, then people will want to pay high rents to live there. And I guess that's sort of his whole thesis. Maybe he should come on the show and tell me different.
Dan, you raise a great point. It kind of reminds me of his brethren. I don't know if they directly knew each other or not, but Tony Goldman, Old Man Goldman, who was one of the ones. I mean, Wynwood had always been around. There's a guy called Larry Mizarek. He was a commercial real estate agent. He used to peddle all the warehouses and stuff over there. And everybody keep in mind Wynwood, why it got on the map. It was basically the industrial district for the Seaboard Airline Rail, which basically came in there just on the other side of Interstate 95 was there. So they used this as warehouse. This was an area where you had a bakery, you had some manufacturing going on. There was something called the Caribbean Base President Ronald Reagan, going all the way back, where they
MAGA.
would basically, yeah, exactly. They would allow countries in the Caribbean where if they assembled product, as long as it was U.S. materials like apparel and stuff, fabric, they'd send it to places like Haiti. It would get assembled there and they bring it back. But there was a lot of it was going on in and around the Wynwood area. So this area was really kind of trashy. It all crapped out. Like I said, the World Trade Center, Foreign Trade Center, I should say, when DK County lost its ass on it. And Tony Goldman comes in. He brings his New York perspective in there, and he's able to put it on the board. But I would argue Tony Goldman, his real contribution, besides the vision, but locally, besides the vision, was being able to bring in the money men. Moishi, I think what you ought to do is you've assembled all this dirt. Now you need to start to divvy it up. You need to sell it out. You need to JV. You need to partner up and do some stuff like that. And I think that's how you ultimately reach it. Because as a one-man band, if you will, I don't really know if you're going to. It's a heavy lift. And he's north of 70. He talked about on the podcast, he's in the legacy mode of, don't get me wrong. He doesn't want to have his, his name on the Kennedy Center when he's thinking about legacy, but he wants to have his name somewhere. So I think what he needs to do is he needs to bring in some other people, maybe some young bucks, if you will, or some people with the money. He can sit back, be the chieftain. He can sort of stroke his goatee if he's got one. If he doesn't, he should grow one, and he can kind of direct it all. Be the landowner, be the old wise man. Share about what you were doing in Colombia with the mangoes and the limes, and we can bring it all together. And I think it would be a fantastic situation. But now's the time. You got to do it now, because if not, people are going to really doubt and question. Because there's nobody to point fingers at anymore.
So you're a buy. I'm a buy.
I would be. Yeah. But it's right now. It's you got to dale. As Mr. 305 says, dale.
Reverter schmurder. I have way too much fun with these topics. So, folks, Peter, remember we talked about? I had never heard about it before. A reverter clause in a contract. We talked about it when we were pinging around the Miami Coral Gables Youth Center about a month ago.
Yes,
and they had
yes.
So Coral Gables Youth Center was donated back in the 50s to the city of Coral Gables. So it would be the Youth Center War Memorial, and if they even changed the name of it, it would revert back to that association, that organization. Well, Peter, I read about another reverter clause. I guess reverter clause were big in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So back in 1974, Old Man Morris, so Alan Morris is dead, right? Alan Morris, big developer. They're doing a lot of stuff. They got Ponce Park over there in the Gables, but they're traditionally multifamily developers. And
the original Old Man Morris, he put up the first office tower on Brickell Avenue. It's still standing today, everybody, right across from where Michael Stern is putting up the Dolce & Gabbana, so they say. But right across the street, going south, that's the first office tower.
Or is Jeffrey Silver putting up the Dolce & Gabbana now? We don't know. Guys, tell us, please. So old man Morris, the oldest man Morris, gave this park to City of Miami back in '74, and there was a reverter clause in that agreement. Hey, I'm going to give you this dirt and make a park. But if you use this for any sort of commercial purpose, it will revert back to moi and my organization. And what does the city of Miami do, Peter? You want me to tell you what they did? They gave it to Paracones for outdoor seating. Paracones was a restaurant in Brickell when nothing was in Brickell, and it was fantastic. They sold out about a decade ago, maybe a little more. Now it's a condo tower there, but they used this park for outdoor seating, and that was a big no-no per that country. Well, they could have done whatever they wanted, but they needed to know full well and good that if they did that, Alan Morris could come back knocking and say, hey, my reverter clause clicked in, now it's mine. So 1974, 2020. Yeah.
Just like the Crandon family, right? Over there in Key Biscayne. Remember, they had a tennis tournament there, and one thing led to another, and all of a sudden they got the boot as well.
So exactly. So if this organization controls it, and by the way, right, we have to remember, Alan Morris is a developer, and everybody's all up in arms because they want to develop it now. And it makes me think of that story of the scorpion and the frog, Pete.